You get the picture. You're launching your career as a BSN prepared nurse. I have no doubt you've packed well for this journey. You're graduates of a top-ranked college of nursing. You've been educated by exceptional faculty, mentored by excellent nurse preceptors, and supported by loving family and friends. You are good critical thinkers, communicators, evidence-based practitioners, and advocates for your patients. So, what else is needed for the next 30 years? And what might you need to know ahead of time to make your trip a success? It was April 2009, and I was traveling to Querétaro, Mexico to evaluate a nursing school there as a potential partnership for our nursing students. I packed my bags carefully, not forgetting a thing, and I made it to the airport on time. I was traveling with others from my college, and it was a very long traveling day, but we made all of our connections and we landed in Mexico City as planned. At the airport, I noticed a large number of people wearing masks, the kinds you see with patients in isolation. I was puzzled by this, and I asked others in our group, what's with masks? And no one could answer my question. And so we then proceeded to travel 3 hours by car to Querétaro and checked into our hotel. I was still ruminating over the masks I'd seen at the airport, and so I turned to the only other source I had, the internet. And it didn't take me long to find a travel warning in bright orange letters. Swine flu, otherwise known as H1N1, was spreading to Mexico City. And as we later learned, it reached pandemic proportions there. We were thankfully able to fly back to the U.S. one day before the Mexican government shut down the airport. But I nevertheless learned a very important lesson. Check for travel alerts and warnings before making such a trip. So, what sort of alerts had I wished I had been given upon graduation from my BSN program? The first is that as a BSN graduate, you can make this upcoming trip whatever you want it to be. I truly didn't realize that as a BSN graduate. I thought as a BSN prepared nurse, I would work in a hospital at the bedside, quietly following physicians' orders forevermore. And that would have been fine because, quite honestly, I was a pretty good bedside nurse, and we need and continue to need good nurses providing direct patient care. But over time, I realized I could follow a different path. Thankfully, the options for nurses are much more obvious today. The Affordable Care Act is transforming healthcare. A landmark report of the Institute of Medicine titled The Future of Nursing calls for major initiatives to redesign nursing education and practice with the goal of preparing nurses as leaders. This report recognizes that the 3 million nurses in this country are the largest segment of the healthcare workforce, and that nurses' understanding of healthcare gives them a unique ability to affect change. This report recommends expanding nursing education and having nurses practicing to the full extent of their education. The report calls for increasing the proportion of nurses with a BSN to 80% by 2020. We're far from that today. But as a BSN graduate, you are each a part of reaching this goal. And I encourage you to pursue a nursing position that allows you to practice to the full extent of your BSN education. The Institute of Medicine also stresses the need to double the number of nurses with a doctorate by 2020. Double the number of nurses with a doctorate. Why do we need more doctorally prepared nurses? Because less than 1% of nurses hold a doctoral degree, and nurses with doctorates are desperately needed to teach future nurses, conduct research, and serve as advanced care providers. If you have even a faint interest in pursuing a career as a nurse practitioner, educator, researcher, midwife, or anesthetist, I encourage you to pursue this possibility. With a doctoral degree, the sky is the limit as to what you can pursue and accomplish. And know that you will be supported by a national initiative to advance your education and expand your nursing role. A second alert, and I promise this one will be much shorter. I've known as a BSN graduate that it is those who persevere who will have a successful trip and reach their destination. Not necessarily those who are the smartest. It's those who will persevere. Florence Nightingale said two things that resonate with me regarding this. The first is, she says, nursing is an art, and if it is to be made an art, it requires an exclusive devotion, as hard a preparation as any painter or sculptor's work. She also said, and I find this one fascinating, I have worked hard, very hard, that is all. And so Miss Nightingale in the 1800s recognized that excellence in nursing requires persistent hard work. If you had told me as a BSN graduate that I would someday have a master's and a doctoral degree, I would have said, no way, I am not smart enough for that. I didn't realize upon completion of my BSN that if I worked hard and persevered, I could achieve graduate level degrees and become a leader in nursing, and so can each of you. A third and final alert, I wish I'd known upon graduation, is this. As a BSN graduate, you will need a guide for your trip. As a 1984 grad, I had never heard the term mentor. It was not until my master's program that I acquired my first mentor. She was the dean of the nursing school, and quite frankly, everyone was afraid of her. But there was something I liked about her. Perhaps it was something I admired. And lo and behold, because of our mutual interest in cardiac disease, she became my master's thesis advisor. And this is what she told me, and I never forgot it, and you just heard it as alert number 1. She said, Susan, you can be whatever you want to be in nursing. And it was my mentor in my doctoral program here at Michigan State who gave me alert number 2. It isn't the smartest to achieve the doctoral degree, it's those who persevere. Having mentors in your life is essential for a successful trip. Seek those mentors and allow them to seek you. Acclaimed author Parker Palmer has said that being a good mentor is not just about knowledge. Mentoring comes from the heart, and it includes our emotions, passion, and spirit. That nursing dean or professor or unit manager may seem intimidating to you, but it may be just that leader's passion and spirit that you need to propel you forward in your career. I congratulate you on completing your 4-year degree. As you embark upon your journey as a BSN-prepared nurse, I encourage you to reflect upon the travel advice given this morning. You can make this trip whatever you want it to be. And through perseverance and with excellent mentors, you can have an awesome trip. Create a journey that challenges and fulfills you for years to come. Thank you again